Okay.
I have to apologize.
So I may have gotten some information wrong in my last video. Not on purpose, I swear. I think the reports that I read and the stuff that I talked about in terms of Dylan ALLaBorde getting first team reps and everyone being healthy and happy to be there, that was all right and true about the first day of mandatory minicamp. The one thing I might have screwed up on is how good the offense was playing, and particularly how good Aiden O'Connell looked. And there are reports that I read that came out the same day that mandatory minicamp started, but I'm pretty sure those reports were from OTAs, not mandatory minicamp. Because I saw some comments that said, Rodney, apparently the offense didn't look as good as you were saying. What's up with that? I was like, that's weird. I'm going to do some research. Offense is bad. Now, look, there are a lot of factors that are going to go into why the offense is bad. The quarterback play, the defense, blah, blah, blah. I have an article pulled up here by Vinny Bonsignor on the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Davante Adams talks about the offensive woes so far, and we're going to get into my take on all that. I just want to make sure we know this, though. If I screw up, I'm going to call myself out on it because I know everyone's going to be like, well, what was that video? And, there was stuff in that video that was wrong, so here's me clarifying it. The offense so far has been bad in OTAs, or not OTAs, minicamp. See, there I go again. And before I get into this article here, I will say this. It's a positive and a negative. And there's a lot at play here. There's a new offense that's being implemented, right? Luke Getsy's new system is going to be complicated with new weapons. The defense has much more continuity than the offense, right? The defense doesn't have a new play caller. They still have Patrick Graham. They have some new pieces, but those pieces are plug and play. Pin your ears back and go get the quarterback. It's not a new weapon like a Brock Bowers who can line up in the backfield, or a new running back in Zamir White taking first-team reps, or Alexander Madison. So there's a lot of things that the offense has to gel and click and get into a rhythm before they're going to be successful. Now, obviously, I would like for them to just be good right away, and some offenses are. And we have to talk about the quarterbacks as well. And we have to talk about how good the defense is, because the quarterbacks, look, they're not world beaters. As much as I believe in Aiden, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like he's Peyton Manning. Like, he's just not. He's not going to be that good right away. He might never be that good. He probably won't be ever that good. These quarterbacks are not Hall of Famers. So we have to have perspective when we go into one day of mandatory minicamp. I'm not going to draw a conclusion one way or another because of people playing good or bad. And apparently the defense is kicking some ass. And of course they are. They're one of the best defenses in the league. So I'm not completely surprised to hear that the defense looks great. The offense does not. That's kind of what we were signing up for when we were going to roll into the season with a new coordinator and either Aiden or Gardner. It was going to be a learning process. And at the end of the day, we're talking about practice. Let's read this article. Davante Adams channeled his inner Allen Iverson, there you go, on Wednesday to put the Raiders' offensive struggles in their mandatory minicamp in perspective. This is a quote. What is that called out there that we just did? Adams asked the team after wrapping up their morning workout. Practice, came the answer. So right off the bat, Davante Adams is trying to tamper expectations one way or another. Okay, Vinny goes on to say the Raiders are still starting the process of learning new offensive coordinator Luke Getsy's system. Some stumbles were inevitable. That included a slew of errant throws by starting quarterback Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew on Wednesday. 3 of those passes were picked off by the team's defense. It was a continuation of what happened most of the Raiders' offseason program. The offense looks 5 steps behind a talented and experienced defense. It's going to take a while for things to even out. So right off the bat, like I said, it's about perspective in terms of continuity. Patrick Graham, Max Crosby, Nate Hobbs, Robert Spillane, these guys have been there, done that with this group, with this unit, have grown together to show they're going to be an elite talent. Last year, it was McDaniels and Mick and Jimmy Garoppolo mixed with some people we have now. Now it's Aiden and Gardner and ALLaBorde and Bowers, and it's all these new pieces. It's going to take a little bit, and when you're going up against such a great defense, it's not going to look good right away. The Raiders' offense will need every minute of practice between now and the regular season to come together. That could mean more reps in the preseason for the starters, especially if the competition between Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew drags out. But to Adam's point, it makes sense that the Raiders need to troubleshoot a few things. That takes time on the practice field. There's no rush here, right, to be great. It takes time. You have to stack good days, take the bad and learn from them, put them into good. There isn't a fast forward button. See, the Raiders have to embrace days like Wednesday and grind through them. And this is what Adams went on to say. It's going to be a lot of mistakes. There are going to be mistakes made during the season, but this time of year gives us the opportunity to get ahead of it and learn the system. And this is what Adams said about Green Bay and Luke Getsy's system. Adams, who worked with Getsy previously in Green Bay, isn't freaking out because the Raiders haven't mastered their new scheme yet. And this is a quote. At this point, you're not a very mature or experienced football player if you're getting frustrated in mandatory minicamp. This is also why Adams is cutting Minshew and O'Connell some slack. He knows they're learning like everybody else. Minshew and O'Connell both struggled Wednesday with their accuracy, but their new offensive group looked disjointed, so it's impossible to know who was at fault. Were O'Connell and Minshew not throwing the ball where they were supposed to, or were wide receivers not running the proper routes? Adams said it's a learning process for everybody getting comfortable with the new system. So, here's what we have to take into consideration. When you're hearing Davante Adams go to bat for his quarterbacks, he doesn't have to do that. He could say, look, it's day one, but we need to be better all the way around. He doesn't have to mince words. Instead, he's saying, it's a new system. It's going to take some time, and there's no big deal there. Now, look, if this continues into the preseason and the offense does not look good, there's absolutely cause for concern. Like I've said before, I'm going to tell you every single outcome that comes into my head. And I cautioned you guys before the season ended last year, there's a chance we could roll with Aiden when everybody thought we were going to draft a quarterback, right? Or trade up for Penix or Daniels or whatever, right? And I cautioned you. There is a scenario in which we roll with Aiden, right? That was caution number one. And it wasn't bad caution. It was just prepare yourself for the situation because it could happen. I'm now going to caution you this. We could go into a season with a bad offense. It just is what it is. If Aiden or Gardner doesn't become what we think one of them can be, if they cannot manage the game well, we are going to have to become the Pittsburgh Steelers to win these football games. And we're going to have to look elsewhere for a quarterback. This is a possible scenario. However, I would much rather have a dominant defense and a bad offense than a dominant offense and a bad defense. Because I'd much rather put faith in the guys in the trenches and our head coach, who is a defensive-minded individual, to win the football games at this current moment. And like I said, the quarterback situation is worrisome, right? You are always going to be worried until you have a bona fide baller, all-star, Pro Bowl type quarterback, and you don't know who that is until the season starts and until their careers continue. But I've asked this question to people before. Would you rather have found the next great head coach or the next great quarterback? My answer is simple. I'd rather have found the next great head coach because look at the Chargers, for example. You could have a quarterback, a top 5 talent in Justin Herbert, but if you have a bad coach, you're not winning any football games. You could have a great coach like Mike Tomlin and have Duck Hodges as your quarterback and still make the playoffs. Obviously, you'd like to have both. Like I said before, that's Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. You win 6 Super Bowls. But I think the way OTAs have gone and the way minicamp is being run, take away how people are performing offensively, badly, defensively, greatly, right? These are just practice games. These do not matter in the grand scheme of things, especially days in early to mid-June. But what I'm hearing is that the players believe and trust in Antonio Pierce. And that, to me, is the most important thing about this offseason. Was Antonio Pierce the right hire? Should we have went with Jim Harbaugh? Right now, June 12th, 2024, I believe we made the right choice. Everything that I've seen in terms of how the media is handling things with the Raiders on their YouTube channel, we're having fun again. The players are happy to go to work. They are not stressed. They are vibrant. They are energetic. They believe in each other. And even when people make mistakes offensively, Davante Adams, the leader of the team, has their back. And I just want to say this. Apparently, on Wednesday, the offense did not do good to start. But in the second half of practice, the offense did pick it up. I heard that Aiden O'Connell had a bomb touchdown to Guyton, put it in between 2 defenders, only where Guyton could catch the ball, and apparently it was a great catch, but it was also a great throw. And another thing I'll say is I've heard a lot of people talking in press conferences. I heard Nate Hobbs talk about it. I heard Davante talk about it. They're not talking a lot about Gardner Minshew. They're talking a lot about Aiden. They're talking about his poise, his maturity. Right, look. Everyone's going to make mistakes. Everyone's going to have bad plays. Everyone's going to miss an open receiver every now and again. But they're talking about his maturity, and they're talking about his work ethic. And Nate Hobbs even said, I believe it was Nate Hobbs, there was a couple plays and a couple throws Aiden made that you were like, damn, forgot you had that in the bag, Aiden. Didn't know you could do that one. And that's what we just need to see. We need to see flashes of Aiden being able to command this offense. All you have to do is be Alex Smith. That's all you have to do. Ryan Tannehill, Jared Goff before he went to the Lions and took his career to the next level. You just have to play the game that's in front of you if you're Aiden or Gardner. I think ultimately that's why they will go with Aiden, because Aiden is going to protect the football, where Gardner might make a play out of the pocket. He might destroy a play out of the pocket. And I think for right now, they want to go with the safe option. And look, it's practice. Allen Iverson, Davante Adams, it's practice. You have to take everything you hear, especially in June, pads on-ish, kind of. They're running drills. They know the plays. They're learning the playbook. Take everything you hear with a grain of salt. Because if we're not going to freak out about how bad the offense is playing, we cannot praise and anoint these guys Hall of Famers if they're playing great defensively. We cannot say it's only June 12th, so we can't worry about the offense, and also say, but the defense is awesome. It can't be like that. It's got to be a two-way street. So temper your expectations. Understand that this is just the beginning of the offseason. Wait till the preseason comes around. Even then, it's going to be a vanilla offense, but you just have to see competency. You just have to see growth from the offense. If they can come together under the new Luke Getsy system, which from everything that I've heard is awesome. We've seen Brock Bowers in the backfield getting handoffs, 12 personnel. You got Gallup coming in, Trey Tucker. All these guys have bought in to AP, Patrick Graham, and Luke Getsy. Those are the three most important coaches, obviously, and we need to make sure that we understand exactly how to run their scheme, know it like the back of our hand. These are going to be the dog days where you're going to hear, oh, Nate Hobbs picked off Aiden O'Connell. It's a pick six, and the sky's falling. This happens every single offseason, and I just wanted to come on here and make sure you guys knew that the offense was not blowing the doors off the place like I might have said. I read some faulty reports or some reports from OTAs. They were not mandatory minicamp. I just wanted to make sure we have the correct expectations, and we should listen to Davante Adams because he might know a thing or two about how football's played. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers before the new league year. We just passed 7. We're trying to get to 7.5 to 8 to 9 to 10. Can we get to 10? Run this thing up. Please be sure to subscribe. It is free after no charge to you. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time.